How's one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. That's 2 days in a row, folks. 2 days in a row. Hit the goal. Just finished a difficult, I'll admit, it was a difficult 8 miles, seeing that I did 10 miles just yesterday. It was a challenging 8 miles today. It really was, because I was feeling it. There was this song, Creed, My Sacrifice, that I haven't heard in a while. You know, when you get that song, when you're running, that runner's high kicks in and you're like, woo! And it makes you start to make it so you push yourself in ways that you couldn't have pushed yourself if you were just going off your own thoughts. So shout out to Creed. Appreciate you on that. All right. As far as today's Move Swiftly thought, we are at another Tuesday. And you know what I do every single Tuesday? Hit you with my top 5 Tuesdays. These lists are picked based upon what's going on in the world, what's kind of going on in regards to current events. And seeing that we are in the midst of another NBA Finals, you know what I got to do as a Miami Heat fan? I got to relive some of the magical moments in Miami Heat history, all right? So it was last championship we actually won, was 2013. That's 11 years ago, seeing that we did appear in 2 other finals, but, you know, we lost those. But in regards to last championship, it was back when the Big Three was making a splash in the NBA. The Big Three changed the NBA between LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh. They made a splash. They came together with the Miami Heat, won 2 championships, went 2 out of 4. In my opinion, again, as a fan, I feel like they underachieved, but at the end of the day, they did get multiple rings, so I got to give them credit for that, all right? So as far as what we're going to talk about today are the people that we didn't mention. I believe, I think it's Udonis Haslem who I heard referred to this crew as the little 12 or little 13 or whatever the number was. But you had the Big Three and the little 12, right? So today we're counting down the top 5 role players from that 2013 NBA championship Miami Heat. Now, keep in mind, I'm saying top 5, but before I even get started on number 5, I gotta mention Shane Battier. All right, he didn't make the list. The only reason he didn't make the list is because the 5th person on the list was more of a crowd-friendly, you know, more appeal to the fans like myself, who was a fan from the outside looking in. I was a fan living in Maryland, born and raised in Maryland. So from the fans' perspective, is the only reason that the individual who is number 5 on this list is who he is, even though Shane Battier definitely deserves to be on this list. All right, so regards to who the top 5 is on as ones, you know, again, the fans' perspective now, again, someone who's watched basketball, grew up in the DMV and has watched basketball, knows some things about basketball, but for the most part, I'm a fan of the game. I was never actually any good in playing the game, so I had to become a fan pretty early. All right. So number 5 on this list, Birdman came in 2013. It was just the energy. It was all the energy. He was a fan favorite, as I mentioned. And it was simply the energy he brought. You saw him on the court jumping, you know, diving for loose balls, coming in off the bench, and he provided a spark. You had to sign Birdman, you know, so Chris Birdman. All right, that's number 5. Number 4, you already know, man, Rio, Mario motherfucking Chalmers was that dude. Listen, the Miami Heat do not win that championship without Mario Chalmers. He came up big, you know, again, as the point guard who's facilitating and, you know, trying to manage these big personalities with D Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James. I thought that in regards to those years in which he was the point guard, and it was a difficult task finding a point guard for that team, and you saw him grow throughout his time with the Heat. And you remember him back when he was playing at Kansas and he hit the big shot to beat Memphis. I mean, he had that it factor. So Mario Chalmers comes in as number 4. 3 and 2, again, like Shane Battier, it was a toss-up. It's like 2A and 2B, to be honest with you. The only reason I have to separate them, I think they were equally as important. And in fact, then the reason I say that is because both of them played at the University of Florida. They're both Gators. They actually have a podcast now named the OG Podcast. And to me, this was the core. You know, this was the core of the team in regards to those role players and making the Miami Heat really relevant and really pushing them pushing them to that culture that everyone talks about, that Miami Heat culture that everyone throughout the entire basketball world always refers to, that Miami Heat culture. To me, these two are the ones that are most responsible for the culture of the Miami Heat. And that's Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem. All right, Mike Miller and UD. You see UD now doing his thing on SportsCenter, being a broadcaster, you know, I mean, not SportsCenter. I believe, yeah, he is actually do some stuff on sports, but you see him doing some stuff on ESPN. But that OG podcast between Mike Miller and UD, I tune into that every once in a while, and, you know, it brings back those memories. So again, I gotta call them 2 and 3, but the reality is it's 2A and 2B. They were equally as important for creating that culture. All right, so you already know where I'm going at with number one. I had to actually, this is why the list was so difficult, because there's a clear-cut number one. There's a clear-cut number one. It's him, and then everyone else is like miles behind. Jesus Shuttlesworth, Ray Allen. Oh, I mean, and we can admit it now. We can admit it. As Miami Heat fans, we can admit that it was him. It was that shot that he took that bailed out LeBron James, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh and made them multiple champions. All right, the game was over. The series was over. The San Antonio Spurs had us beat. Had it not been for my man, Ray Allen, I mean, stepping back perfectly. I mean, off the loose ball, he steps back perfectly. His foot is perfectly behind the three-point arc. He takes the ball. Woo! Butter. And you saw the crowd. I mean, listen, when I first got to South Florida and I went to my first Miami Heat game, it was a preseason game, and there was a gentleman there who was actually in the building for that game. And he looks at me, and I asked him again, because I watched it on TV, and he says, look, oh my God, we were at that game. It was the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen. I mean, the entire crowd is white. The cameras caught his Ray Allen's mom, like, yeah! You know, it was, in my opinion, again, you know, this is arguably the greatest moment in Miami Heat history, because this was a role play. This isn't one of the big three. This is somebody that we got lucky and we snagged from Boston, which was one of our rivals at the time. And he hit that shot. Woo! It bailed our ass out. And this is why I talk about this so much, the importance of teammates, the importance of teamwork, the importance of, you know, filling up your roster with these role players, these specialists, especially when it comes to the basketball world, the cats that can play defense, grab boards, who got that outside shot. The reason LeBron's career has lasted so long is because he developed that 17-footer game, you know. That is the most important aspect of basketball, all right? So that's the top 5 list for the week. Just to recap again, Shane Battier deserves to be on this list, but I'm a fan of the game, so I had to put Birdman ahead of him. So we got Birdman coming at number 5, Mario Chalmers number 4, 2A and 2B, Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem, and number 1, Mr. Ray Allen, aka Jesus Shuttlesworth. All right. Tune in every Tuesday. I'll have another list for you guys coming soon. And in regards to the main website to check out, to dive deeper into all my work, it's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.